An iPad following it up. Well, we are live, Steve. We're live on the air. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Say hi to your wingman.
Yes, here. Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
All right, let's see. It looks like it's time for roll call. We have Donald and Steve and Brett. Oh, I forgot to say hi to Brett in the chat room. And Kevin, Dan, Dr. Dream, Gary Apter, Grim, Kirshen, New York, Linda is back. Rose, Richard is back for more of the abuse from the NosillaCast ways. And Steve's in the house twice. All right, let's do a little test recording. Make sure you guys can hear this. Let's hear how we go. Don't get cocky, Allison, just because you got this to work once last time. Let's see. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. So exciting. Okay, here we go. Whoops. Oops. Why am I hearing nothing? Well, that's not very interesting. Oh, because I started recording in a weird place. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. All right. Did we get playback?
We did. I heard it.
All right. You heard it. Anybody else hear it? Okay. How do I select that clip again? Come on. Come on. Hi, this. Nope. That's not how you select a clip. How do you select a clip again? All right. Come on. I did it like that. I can do that again, I guess. I don't know how to select a clip. It's fun using new tools. Yep. Me to play. What do I need? Podfeed.com. Hey, I would like to make a plea to everybody. If you guys listen to the Mac Geek Gab, it's probably driving you as crazy it is driving me crazy that Dave Hamilton keeps calling it El Capitan. So I would like everybody to start calling him Dave Hamilton. Okay? Can we just make that a plan?
That's good.
Drives me crazy. You know what I have half a mind to do? And Steve, maybe I'll work on this tonight if you make me watch another of those stupid Star Wars movies. I'm thinking about taking all of the keynote for El Capitan and just cutting out every single time one of the big execs says the name, and just have a video of them going El Capitan, El Capitan, El Capitan, and send it to Dave. Driving me crazy.
Yeah, he and John would really appreciate that.
I think so. Well, John has started to do it now that Dave says it that way. So, all right. Well, we should.
It's just that they're not Californians.
Well, yeah, but I don't care. I don't call it Worcestershire just because I'm not from back there. I call it Worcester or whatever, like they tell me to. Or I try to, you know. Contact John F. to really get Dave. What do you mean? Well, John is saying it that way too now, but only because of Dave. So I know it's Dave. I've argued with him before, but I'm going to do it again. All right, we should start the show. Here we go. I don't know if I'm on the right track. Make sure I'm on the right there. I was not on the right track. Ooh, I might be getting the hang of this. Got to get the right track first, or you write over everything and you have to start over. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, November 1st, 2015, and this is show number 547. I think I should mention at the beginning of the show for a while, till everybody catches up, that I have recently split the NosillaCast into two shows. The traditional part I do alone, which is what you're going to hear now, and the interview part, Chit Chat Across the Pond, is now in its own standalone show. This means it will be way easier to point people directly to one interview, and will help if you ever want to go back and maybe listen to something again. For example, Kevin this week asked me if I could point him to the episode where Pat Dingler talked about becoming a member of the Apple Certified Network. I had to hunt through all kinds of other information to find it, but if it had been one of the new standalone episodes, that would have been much easier for him. If you want to hear both shows, you need to search for Chit Chat Across the Pond in your favorite podcatcher and subscribe to that too, because you will not get it automatically. And I don't want you to miss it. I hope everybody will go subscribe. Maybe even more people than are going to listen to me blather. Who knows? Well, I am still cleaning up some bits and bobs, as Bart would say, like figuring out what to do with the NosillaCast news. The NosillaCast news gives you a newsletter whenever the NosillaCast comes out, including the show description and relevant links. People evidently really like it. I get metrics on how often people open it, and way more than the industry average for newsletters do. So apparently people like it. I think one of the things they really like is there's a really easy way to unsubscribe if you don't like it. More people are growing, and more people are subscribing over time. But I do see people unsubscribe, and it's like, that's cool. If you're not getting value out of it, why be bothered? So that's very cool. But now that's called the NosillaCast News. What do I do about chit chat across the pond? Well, I asked your collective advice in the Google Plus community, podfeet.com/Google Plus, and we decided to make the newsletter come out whenever there's a chit chat across the pond or a NosillaCast. So you get both notifications in one newsletter. Well, actually, there'll be 2 newsletters if I do 2 a week. We decided that we liked the alliteration of NosillaCast News, but we needed to incorporate Podfeet instead. Now, while Alistair wanted us to call it Princess Podfeet's Pontifications, we decided to go with the milder form and just call it the Podfeet Press. The good news is that once I get all this set up and working, it works really well. I use a tool called MailChimp, which for some reason is free. So you can do this too if you want to bother people. Anyway, I create a template for what it's supposed to look like and a list of people to receive it. And every night at 9 p.m., it checks to see if I've released a podcast. If I have, it generates the newsletter for you. So the way it does that is it takes the RSS feed that drives the podcatchers. It can go check that. That's pretty slick. And inside MailChimp, I found a tool that showed you could combine 2 feeds into one. So I was able to create a third feed that gives us both. And so I was able to tell the newsletter to go out when that feed goes, which has both of them in it. So that's kind of cool. The only problem is I have a lot of trouble understanding how to mess around in these templates of what it looks like. So you remember it took me weeks to get the text play nicely with the mobile view a few weeks ago? Well, now I had to come up with a new logo, which is the 2 logos side by side. Really, really tricky. But I had to do I haven't figured out how to edit the template once it's inside of one of these campaigns, they call them. And so I think I did it right for the combination of the 2 shows. But I think there's a really good chance you're going to get an email after the show goes live that just has a bunch of gibberish code in the mail. I'm hoping it fills it all in correctly, but I'm not sure it's going to do it right. And I'm betting someone out there will tell me if that happens. Fingers crossed, because I can't actually tell for sure until it goes out. By the way, you'll still get notifications of any kind of big news through the Podfeet Press, like my web server being down, canceling the live show, as well as of the notifications of when the 2 shows come out. So I hope that makes everybody happy. There we go. All right. Save.
Say hello to Sybil.
Oh, Sybil's new to the chat room.
I think
so. Sybil, how are you? How exciting! Somebody new. All right. Richard, that means you're not new guy anymore, which actually is pretty funny. There was this guy at work. His name was Richard, and I decided to call him new guy because he was the new guy. And I called him new guy for about 2 years. He was about a year in. Another guy showed up, so I decided that he had to be new guy so I could start calling Richard. But then the second guy quit, so I started calling Richard new guy again. I don't think he liked it, but I thought it was hilarious. Who's yelling excellent?
That's me. I'm just excellent that Sybil is indeed new to the chat room.
Oh, okay. Very exciting. Okay, I think I'm in the right spot to start recording. First live view. Yay! Good. Oh, is that on the let's see. Sybil might be watching on TiVo. That if you're watching on TiVo, that means you're watching it through Alpha Geek Media, possibly. If that's what it says TIVE. I'm guessing that was supposed to be TiVo. Haley's supposed to be in bed right now. It is very late at her house, but she's supposed to be asleep, but I knew she'd sneak in here. I could just tell she was going to do that. All right. Let's see. Next business here. I spoke a bit on the show about the Creative Kit 2016 MacFun extensions for photos and how much I liked them. If you want to learn more in depth about them, I did I'm really proud of this, a really good screencast for Don McAllister's Screencast Online that he published this week. In it, I did a deep dive into my favorite of the suite, and it's called Intensify CK. And then in a couple of weeks, I'm going to go through the rest of them for an additional show. They're all going to be packed into one show because the interface is pretty easy between those to show you. You can see the trailer for the Intensify CK video at a link I put in the show notes. It's Screencast Online episode 527. You can watch the entire show if you're already a member of Screencast Online, or if not, you can get a free 14-day trial for Screencast Online or at screencastonline.com. Well, Steve and I bought the first generation Apple TV and we disliked it so much, we sold it to Jonathan Koss for, I think it was $50 just to get it out of our house. We bought Gen 2 and Gen 3 and we like those quite a bit better. Our use case is split between using it for AirPlay, video podcasts thrown to the TV from an iPad, and then to rent movies on iTunes. Those are pretty much the two main things we do. There's a little bit of Netflix here and there, but we tend to reach for the Roku for Netflix a little more often than we do for the Apple TV. We do also use it to watch the Apple keynotes, but that's only a couple of times a year. We definitely do not need another Apple TV, but we were also definitely swayed by the cool new remote. Even if the old Apple TV remote wasn't the worst piece of doo-doo Apple had ever invented, the new remote has some wicked cool features like Siri search that were just too compelling to ignore. The interface of the new 4th gen Apple TV looked really pretty, not functionally that much different, but it looked really pretty, and the possibility of cool new apps sounded swell. Well, Steve pre-ordered the Apple TV and chose the 32 gigabyte version over the 64 gigabyte version, mostly because from what we've heard, the storage is mostly required for game data, and we're not into gaming. We also figured if it was too small, that would give us an excuse to replace another older Apple TV with a new one, right? You really got to think ahead and come up with your excuses for the flowdown. Well, the ordering process really irritated Steve. Most Apple products have come with free shipping, but he had to choose between standard shipping and an expedited shipping of $17. Now, that would have maybe made sense, but there was a significant overlap between the dates of shipping, and neither regular nor expedited shipping was going to get it to him on release day, October 30th, or at least wasn't going to guarantee him that he was going to get it on Friday, the 30th of October. So he went ahead and went for slow boat shipping. But then Apple got him really salty when they announced on the 29th that the Apple TV would be available in stores on Friday. He isn't the kind of person to get all up in arms about stuff. That's usually my job. But he was so mad, he actually wrote to Tim Cook, suggesting it was really mean of him not to tell us that it would be available in stores on release day. Like, why get the people mad? Like, you could pay $17 for expedited shipping and you're going to get it after the person who just strolls into the store? That didn't make any sense. Well, anyway, of course, we bought one on release day too. We put all that shipping angst behind us and we decided to just walk into the store and buy one. And then we sold Dorothy the one that we bought online. So it's all good. We got one. She got one. Everybody's happy. Anyway, let's talk about the fun of the new Apple TV. In the box, you get the new remote, a lightning cable to charge the remote. Now that's a nice touch and a $17 value. You get the Apple TV itself and a power cable. And of course, a couple of those little Apple stickers, the little ones. The new Apple TV is about a third thicker than the older models, but the same footprint. We swapped out our 3rd gen for the new 4th gen and fired it up. And the initial setup was really cool. Since this device will be talking to your iCloud account, you're offered the option of using an iOS device to hand off the appropriate settings to the Apple TV, including Wi-Fi settings. All you have to do is make sure your iOS device is unlocked with Bluetooth on, and you kind of just put it near the Apple TV, and the Apple TV is configured automatically. It was really, really sweet. I was so happy to not have to type in my long, complex password I got from Bart's XKPassWD tool. I love that password. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love his tool, but man, I hate to type that on those little tiny remotes. Well, it worked perfectly. I got a notification on the phone asking me if I wanted to configure the Apple TV. I hit yes, and it was done. Next, the Apple TV wanted to know if we wanted location services turned on. We couldn't think of a reason why we'd want to do that, so we declined, but I noted one really good thing. Neither option was the default. That means that you have to actively choose to enable location services. Yes or no, you had to choose. I thought that was a good move on Apple's part. Next was time zone selection, which was my first opportunity to use the touchpad on the Apple TV. While it is not as heinous as using the old remote, typing in the name of my city was really irritating. On the old Apple TV interface, the letters were in a grid, and now they put them all in a nice, really long line, nice horizontal line. Think about if I have to type, say, Sheridan. S is all the way down on the right. A is all the way down on the left. S-H-E-R. Think about going back and forth, back and forth. Really, really mean of them to do this. It was pretty and made nice little popping graphics while I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to entertain me, but it was very tedious. Next up, it asked me if we wanted to use Siri. Again, Apple did not default this to use or don't use Siri. You have to be an active participant whether you want Siri to listen to you. Now, I also want to mention that the Apple TV remote has a dedicated Siri button, so it is not listening to you at all times. You have to press and hold the button down for Siri to be able to hear you. I'm just barely getting the hang of holding it down. I have a habit of hitting it and then letting go, but you have to press and hold it. So she is not listening to you when you're not holding that button down. Now, just to entertain you, the Apple TV asks you if you want to automatically download the Aerial Screensaver. It's HD video from beautiful locations around the world. It tells you this is going to be around 600 megabytes worth of download a month, and you can change it at any time. Again, you have to actively choose to download or not. We have to justify our next bigger Apple TV, so we said yes. Finally, it asked if we want to share app analytics with developers. I actively chose to share. Again, you have to choose it. And then I had to agree to the warranty page showing 1 year. I really hate looking at that because it makes me sad knowing that everybody in Europe is guaranteed 2 years of warranty by law. Oh well. Finally, the Apple TV was configured and it was gorgeous. The very first thing I wanted to do was test Siri Search. From what we'd been told, it could find things across all services that have hooked into their API, unlike the Amazon Fire that searches the Amazon services but does not search, say, inside Netflix. I did what any good NosillaCast OA would do. I held down the dedicated Siri button and I said, "Show me Star Trek Next Generation." It found it immediately and then offered it to show it to me in iTunes, Netflix, and Hulu. I was free to choose any of them. I searched for Homeland, and that time it found it in iTunes and in Showtime. It's the search across services works perfectly. I should tell you that Dorothy has put a whole bunch of her movies inside her iTunes library, and it doesn't search that, which is really disappointing. She said that she heard Renee Ritchie and Imore saying that they were going to extend the search to go inside your iTunes library, but she's not going to hold her breath on that. All right, now it's time to get me some apps because I didn't have Showtime or Netflix yet on my Apple TV. I went to the app button and I chose Netflix. It had a little install button and I was in business. But then I went into the Netflix app and of course it made me log in. And my son set up the account and he has a super long email address and a really nice long complex password with letters and numbers and punctuation, just like I taught him. No worries, that's okay. I'm just going to open up my iPhone, launch 1Password, put down my fingerprint, copy the password. Then I figured I'd flip over to the remote app that sees all three of my older Apple TVs and just paste it in, except it doesn't work with the new Apple TV yet. Okay, that was really annoying. Took me 2 tries and I think about 7 minutes later to get that password in, and then I was in business. In the App Store, some apps say install, like Netflix did, and you can simply push that button, but some say get. If you click on get instead of installing immediately, it makes you enter your gosh darn Apple ID credentials. The only thing worse than Kyle's new username and password is my Apple ID and password. Remember how excited I was about using XKPassWD and that long, complex password? Yeah, I might have cursed Bart under my breath a few times. And remember how cool it was that I was able to use my iPhone a few minutes ago to authenticate with that very same gosh darn Apple ID? Nope, it's not going to remember it. I've got to type it in. So I spent another 3 minutes typing in that password again, swearing under my breath at the developers of the remote app for not getting that thing ready for me. Also, Steve thought, well, why don't we just use a Bluetooth keyboard? Guess what? Can't use Bluetooth keyboards with the Apple TV 4. They just hate us. They really do. They took the letters, made them in a long string instead of a grid, won't let you use the remote app. You can't use 1Password. You can't use your Bluetooth keyboard. All right, I decided to test out home sharing. And guess what I have to type in? You got it, my Apple ID credentials. My new criteria for what I'll install is whatever doesn't make me type in my Apple ID credentials again, which is only apps that say install next to them. We did go and want to watch a movie and to rent a movie on Friday night. And when we went to do it, it wanted my Apple ID credentials again. Well, I was pretty irritated by that. But then the next thing it said was pretty interesting. It said, "You want me to just save this for you?" So we said, yes. We don't even care if it just put it out on the public internet. We were so tired of this. We're assuming it probably saved it in the device, but we were so tired of it by that time. Now, I haven't gone back and checked to see whether I can download and install apps without having to type that in, but I'm pretty sure I don't have to do it for movies anymore. Well, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on storage for a while because of we got the 32 gig version, but so far it looks like we're probably going to be fine. I installed 4 apps, and in settings, I took a look at managed storage. Netflix was 12 megabytes, Periscope was 5 megabytes, and both NBC and YouTube were both under a megabyte. Oddly, it did not show me that fancy pants aerial screensaver, the one with the HD video in the storage, over in that storage listing. That would have been nice. They said it was on average 600 megabytes a month of downloads, but it didn't show you how much instantaneous storage it takes up. All right, let's get back to the remote because it's just as happy making as I hoped it would be. Except for the password part. An unexpected pleasure was that I can control the audio volume with the Apple TV remote. We have our Apple TV plugged into a Dolby 7.1 stereo receiver via HDMI, and then the receiver sends one HDMI signal to the TV. So it's pretty cool that the Apple TV can now control the audio level on the receiver. Once we start a movie, we will only need one remote. Finally, one of my favorite things about Apple TV with Siri and the new remote is that at any time you can hold down the Siri button and say, "What did he say?" And the show backs up 15 seconds and plays back with subtitles turned on. Now, in case you think that Apple made fire here, it is wonderful, it is lovely, but our Roku does the same thing when you it turns on subtitles when you back up 15 seconds, but you had to go in and configure it to do that. And plus, this is kind of cool to just go, "What did he say?" That's kind of fun. On the subject of subtitles, turning them on at all on the old Apple TV was a huge pain. If you were watching a movie, you had to completely back out of watching the movie, dive, I think it was 62 levels deep into settings, back out of that, and then try to get back to your movie and play, but it would have moved and you couldn't figure out where it was because you rented it. It was really hard. Now you simply say, "Turn subtitles on" when you press the Siri button. This makes me so happy. Bottom line, I love the new Apple TV, mostly because of the new remote with Siri, and the search works really, really well. And I have a feeling we're going to be buying more of these over time. Wow, that was a long stretch. Save. Price of the 64 gig in Canada. I'd go for the 32 gig as the price of your 64. Oh, wow. Yeah, Dan, I'm pretty sure that price, is that before tax? I like the way you wrote that, Kevin. It looks like you said to save Podfeet. Coming Tuesday, yay! Okay, that is including tax because our price is not. But I don't know if I want to go off and talk about all the price in all the different countries because I know it's 300, I think, in New Zealand. So. Oh, Haley went and got one too? Nice.
I think it was 164 for the 32 gig here in the US with tax.
Okay, Steve's saying it's 164 for the 32 gig with tax.
Here, let me check a check I recently received. Yes, 162. 162.
Oh, Kevin wants to be new guy now. I just saw him change his name. All right.
Of course, that's California tax, right? So that might be more than others.
That's true. Yeah, we're at 10%.
The state tax.
Yeah, really well. And I have a feeling we're going to be buying more of these over time. All right. All right. I have a big announcement coming up, guys. Here we go. Where did you go?
I'm right here.
Okay. Don't go anywhere, dear. Shh. Mute. 129 pounds. How much is 129 pounds in US money? Let's see, 129 pounds in USD. $200. Okay, yeah, you guys are paying a lot more. Oh well. Can't do anything about that. Let's see. I'm in the right track. Okay, here we go. Do you guys remember last week when I told you that there were 3 of you left who hadn't yet bought Clarify? Well, evidently, there's only 1 of you left now. So this ad is for you, and this is the very last ad for Clarify. I have really loved advertising for the guys over at Blue Mango Learning. Greg and Trevor, the developers, have been such great supporters of the show, and they've created a fantastic product that you can tell I really love. They've actually become friends of mine. I did a Google search to see how far back we go on podfeet.com, and I found the first time I ever heard of their products. It was February 24th, 2008, when research assistant Niraj told me about their product called Screen Steps Desktop. That's the product that later morphed into Clarify. I should mention that ScreenSteps is alive and well, and in fact, now that Clarify is working great for the consumers, they're putting the full court press on supporting their enterprise solution for ScreenSteps. In all these years, I've never had a week when I didn't have a story to tell about how ScreenSteps or Clarify saved the day. Many of you have sent in your testimonials on how it helped you look like a hero to your friends and family, or maybe helped you remember how to do something. On podfeed.com, I have a zillion tutorials I've posted over the years, and they continue to help others. 2 people contacted me this week about tutorials I'd written in Clarify years ago. I have a feeling that from time to time, I will still mention Clarify, and you'll know that I really meant what I've been saying all this time. And that's also when Greg and Trevor will figure out that they could have stopped paying me a really long time ago, because I probably would have kept talking about it. Unless something good comes along that I can endorse 100%, this will be an unsponsored show going forward. So the Amazon affiliate link and the PayPal donation buttons over on podfeed.com will become the only source of income to support the show. As you head into the holiday shopping season, please consider using the Amazon link. All you have to do is click it and search for whatever you want to buy, and anything you buy during that transaction, it sends a small percentage to help the NosillaCast and Chit Chat Across the Pond, but it doesn't cost you a nickel more, I should say. Thank you very much to Trevor and Greg, and the last one of you, please go pick up your copy of Clarify now that we're done. That's the end of an era, isn't it? Did that work? What did I just do? Uh-oh. I don't know if that worked, you guys. Where am I? The heck?
I see ya.
Did
you not record?
I don't know. What just happened? It recorded. I don't know where it is. It sends a small percentage to help the. Oh. Wait. Oh, this isn't good.
What?
I just recorded over the entire show. Everything else I'd done. Do you guys remember last week when I told you that? Yep, I just did.
By the entire show, what do you mean?
Everything I had recorded, I just had to erase the ad. I had just plopped right over top of it somehow.
But you can recover from that?
I spoke a bit on the show about the... Shh.
Can you do an undo?
Yeah, I can, but now I'm not finding the first... The beginning of the show's gone now, too. I spoke a bit on the show about... Okay. I have a catastrophe here. I do not know what's going on. Okay. Now, undo this. Undo. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan. Okay. Covered that. I don't know why that. Yeah, I think the insertion point was getting back to the front instead of where it should have been. All right, here we go. All right, guys. Okay, now I've got 2 amend in, do I? I spoke a bit on the... Nope, it's pasting over it. What is going on? Okay, I evidently am not using this correctly. Okay, try pasting there. Okay, now I can pull those together. All right, I'm going to have to do the ad again. Dang it. The live show, as well as of the notifications of when the 2 shows come out. So I hope that makes everybody happy. I spoke a bit on the show about the Creative Kit 2016. Okay. That's all there. All on the old Apple TV. Okay. All right. I think I know what happened. I don't know. So there on Amadeus Pro, there's 2 different there's two different things. There's a insertion point and a playhead, and they're two different things. And if you don't get the playhead, if you don't get the insertion point in the right place, then it's not where you're playing, which is what I just did. Okay, but I was able to undo I wrote one over. I probably could have saved both, but.
So you need to re-record the ad?
Yeah.
How appropriate. A double last ad for Clarify.
Double last ad for Clarify, Steve says. Yeah, you're right, Dan. That's exactly what it was. All right. All right. Get all teary-eyed again. Here we go. Hope this works. Actually, now I know how to. Okay, I'm going to save. I probably saved before that now that I think about it. Okay, I'm going to save. All right, here we go. Remember last week when I told you there were 3 of you left who hadn't yet bought Clarify? Well, there's only 1 of you left now. So this ad is for you, and that makes this the very last ad for Clarify. I've really loved advertising for the guys over at Blue Mango Learning. Greg and Trevor, the developers, have become friends, and they're great supporters of the show and have created a product I really love. I did a Google search to see how far back we go on podfeet.com, and I found the first time I ever heard of these guys and their products. It was February 24th, 2008, when research assistant Niraj told me about their product, ScreenSteps Desktop, which later morphed into Clarify. I should mention, by the way, that ScreenSteps is alive and well. And in fact, now that Clarify is working so well for consumers, they're putting the full court press on supporting their enterprise solutions with ScreenSteps. In all these years, I have never had a week when I didn't have a great story about how ScreenSteps or Clarify saved the day. Many of you have sent in your own testimonials on how it helped you look like a hero to your friends and family, or maybe helped you remember how to do something. On podfeet.com, I've posted a zillion tutorials, and I've got them over there. People continue to call me up write to me and say, hey, I just got this tutorial you wrote. Can you help me understand how to do this now? In fact, 2 people this week did the same thing. I have a feeling that from time to time, I will still mention Clarify, and then you're going to know I really meant what I've said all this time, not just because they were advertisers. That's also when Greg and Trevor will figure out they probably could have stopped paying me a long time ago and I would have kept going. Unless something good comes along that I can endorse 100%, this will be an unsponsored show going forward. That means the Amazon affiliate link and the PayPal donation buttons over on podfeet.com will become the only source of income to support the show. As you head into the holiday shopping season, please consider using the Amazon link. All you have to do is click on where it says Amazon, and then whatever you search for and buy at that point, whatever you buy in that session, a small percentage of that will come to help the show, and it won't cost you a nickel more. Okay, that one put in the right place. Whew.
I think I want it again with a little more feeling this time.
Steve says he wants it again with a little more feeling. And try to get back to your movie and play, but it would have moved, and you could figure out where it was. You rented it, and it was really hard. Now you simply say, turn subtitles on when you press the Siri button. This makes me so happy. Bottom line, I love the new Apple TV, mostly because of the new remote with Siri, and the search works really, really well. And I have a feeling we're going to be buying more of these over time. Remember last week when I told you there were 3 of you left? One thing I don't have real good control, or I haven't learned how to control very well, is how big the gap is between these things. Okay, so I got to figure out how to get there. Okay, the red line. See, I don't know how to move I know how to select, but I don't know how to just move the little red line. How do I move to no, that's not how I do it. How do I move the insertion point, Dan? I can sort of move it, but, move insertion point to playhead. I can do that with a Command Y. Once more with gusto, Linda says. Nice. Okay, that's not it. How if we go to the end? Nope, that's not it. How do you go to the end? You go by 10 seconds. That's slow. Yeah, to the end. Bought my new backup Android phone using Allison's link. Yay! All right. Oh, Sybil's our people. Star Trek Online news reporter from my guild's podcast. Wow, that's cool. And a Twit listener. You are so our people, Sybil. All right. Try using your arrow keys. Yeah, I can with the arrow keys. It seems to jump. I guess it jumps like 30 seconds. When the show gets into the 40-minute thing, that would take me 80 clicks to get to it. All right. Oh, Steve's pushing mission log. Save. All right. Actually, it's kind of funny. I'm going to talk about the typo thing, Steven. You missed one. It says scree savers in part of what I was going to read there.
Oh, I thought you meant that.
Scree savers. Actually, you might have fixed that already. All right, here we go. When spell check first came out, it was a wonderful thing. We were so happy when we saw those nice squiggly lines showing us our typos. It was glorious. I'm a really good speller, as it turns out. In fact, I had my engineering degree questioned by one of my bosses. Said, "What kind of an engineer can spell as well as you? Where did you go to school?" Anyway, I am a good speller, but I do make typos. So having that visual indicator was great. For some reason, I can spot typos a mile away in anyone else's writing. I mean, you can have a piece of paper upside down, backwards, upside down on the other side of the room, and I can see your typos. But my own are completely invisible to me. I've always thought it was a kind of arrogance gene I've got going on there that would think I can't possibly have made a mistake. Well, anyway, then came along autocorrect. At first, we heralded it as a revolution, a time saver, something about which we rejoiced. Then came the humorous autocorrect stories. We mocked it. We rejoiced in other people's failures, but we secretly grew to depend on it more and more. In spite of these great tools to find our mistakes and correct them, my blog posts are often riddled with errors. I've mentioned that I love it when people point them out because I simply cannot see them in my own writing unless I read them out loud, and I'm too lazy to do that ahead of time. Recently, I started using Telegram as my messaging app of choice, and oddly, the Mac app does not have autocorrect, while the iOS and web apps do. First, I thought that was a bad thing, but then I realized how freeing it was. I love to write things like, "I'm so jealous," with, like 17 zeros, but autocorrect would always want to change that. And I would have to fight with it to get it back, sometimes 2, 3 times to get it to take what I wanted. I like to write probably instead of probably. I don't know why. It just makes me happy. It's kind of silly. I also might want to write gonna instead of going to, but stupid autocorrect won't let me. Oh, I also like to write stupid with 2 O's instead of a single U. Hey, I'm having fun. I can type any way I want to, right? Not with autocorrect, I can't. But in Telegram, I was free to spell the way I wanted to spell. That gave me an idea. Why am I a slave to autocorrect? Why have I accepted this tyranny? I went hunting in system preferences, keyboard, text, and I found a lovely checkbox that said correct spelling automatically, and I unchecked it. Now, note, I did leave it to still let it check my spelling, so it will tell me I'm an idiot if I put too many O's in the word so, but it doesn't change it to what it thinks best. It'll still give me the little squiggly line. I've been running with autocorrect turned off on my Mac for more than a week now, and I love it. It's as wonderful as I hoped it would be. You know how I'm always saying that I love it if people tell me about typos in my blog posts? I really think you're going to see fewer mistakes from now because I'm in control. I think with autocorrect on, Apple was changing my typos to real words it thinks I meant to type, so I wasn't getting the squiggly lines that told me I'd made a mistake, so I couldn't see the mistakes. It's my theory anyway. It got put to the test this week with Steve checking my Apple TV post, and he found one typo. He usually finds a lot more, and in that case, I should have seen it. It was me just ignoring the squiggly line when I went back and looked at it. Armed with my new freedom, I raced to my iPhone and I turned off autocorrect there too. I thought, this is going to take a little bit of getting used to, so I left it off for about 3 days and I could not stand it. Back when Steve Jobs, in talking about how to type on iPhone, said, "Just trust it," many mocked him for that, and it took me a long time to actually get what he meant about trusting it. But if you do trust it, it really does remarkably well in typing if you just let it do its thing. Autocorrect off on iOS was a disaster. It was way too hard to type correctly. Even though I could tap and hold a word and choose a correction, I was just doing it all the time. I wasn't typing anything right. It took me about twice as long to type out a single sentence without autocorrect. I don't know if anybody else is like me in this, but I throw it out to you. Really think about whether autocorrect helps you or whether it just constrains your creativity. Don't be a slave to autocorrect. That one worked. Check the gap there. Uh-oh. Autocorrect is my worst enema. Let's hope you did it on purpose, Sybil. Yep, Linda, she's our people. Can tell that for sure, right? Okay, let's see. Using the Amazon link. All you have to do is gap is right. Click on the where it says Amazon, and then whatever you search for and buy at that point, whatever you buy in that session, a small percentage of that will come to help the show, and it won't cost you a nickel more. When spell check first came out, okay, that's good. I'm getting the hang of these gaps. Save. All right, I want to find out how to go to the end of the line. Oh, extend to end. No, selection. I don't want to extend. I want to view. I want to move. Move insertion point to playhead. Move playhead to insertion point. Go to location. Extend selection to location. I just want to go to the end. Go to location. Command G. End. Sure. 18 minutes? Nope, that's not it. Okay, I know I can do that. Okay, so if I click down at the bottom, I can get the playhead to the end. So then if I go move insertion point to playhead, if I hit Command Y, maybe it'll go there. Is it there? Hi, this is nope. Moved it to the beginning. Why? Okay. So okay, I've got the playhead at the end at 23 minutes. And I'm looking at the menus. It's here. I'm going to make you guys look. See if you guys can see what I'm supposed to do. Screen share.
Are you pushing us now?
Uh-huh. Okay. So here's what I'm looking at. So do you see this blue thing down at the bottom, that playhead? See that line going back and forth? That's the playhead. That's the blue thing. But there's also, if I put my cursor up here and whoops, that's not it. If I put it up here, there. If I move around, well, if I click and hold, it's moving it with me. Now the blue line showed up there, but if I just click the red thing, that's the insertion point. See this little insertion point down here? So like if I left it right there and started recording, it would splat over this and it just pastes right over it. You can't later on like just slide it and get it, not over top of it.
So it erases your original recording?
The stuff underneath. Yeah, it's actually splatted. You can't drag it and pull it apart.
Can you have multiple tracks when you record?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do.
Oh, I see. But each time you're not starting a new track when you just start a new.
No. Yeah. So this is the Allison track. This is the intro. This is the outro. And if I had chit chat or if I had dumb question corner music or something, I could have that. But so what I'm trying to figure out. So there's the blue playhead there. Oh, wow. Now even the red line and the red marker aren't in the same place. See, this is what I don't understand. So there's the red line. Oh, let me click somewhere.
I think you need to spend some quality time with Dan.
I think I do. Well, I just want Dan to figure it out for me right now. Okay, so you see the blue playhead down here and the red playhead. So I want to move the red one to where the blue one is. So the red one is the insertion point. So if I say selection, move insertion point to playhead, the red one should move on top of the blue one. And I think it did.
Yeah, it looks like it just kind of replaced the blue with the red.
Hi, this is Alice. Nope, I just hit play and the blue one's all the way at the far left.
I don't see it.
Yeah, but you can hear it and share it into the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. Oh, nice. All right, Sybil's a retired mechanical engineer. Wow. I love it. Oh, that's perfect. Tech writing disciplined me in spelling. Yes, the autocorrect gag was intentional. Oh, excellent. Sybil, you're like my Steve doesn't want me to keep presenting this. Sybil, you're my people. Star Trek, you listen to Twit, you're a geek. You've a retired mechanical engineer. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Sybil, we need bonding on this. Okay, so how am I going to get that? Okay, I guess I got to click here and then I can start hitting the arrows.
Dan has a little input here. Command
you want to move the playhead to where the insertion point is. Command Shift Y will do it. Yeah, I'm doing that, but I'm using the menu to do it and it's not doing it. Let me see. Let me try one more time. I'll try it with the arrow keys. Let's see. He says Command Shift Y. So
give
the blue
the display.
Oh, got to show the display. Okay. All right. So I've got the blue line here. That's the playhead. And the red one's the insertion point. So he says if I hit Command Shift Y, the blue one should move to the red one. And it did. Oh, interesting, Dan. The keystroke works, but the menu doesn't. I need to write to somebody and alert them to that. Take a note. Hang on. Man,
how mature is this app?
2008.
What?
It's very mature. It's been around a long time.
With several versions, I trust.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And active support. Yeah. Okay. I checked that before I bought in. Manchify works. Menu doesn't. Okay. That's cool, Dan. That's excellent.
Do they say it supports El Capitan?
I don't remember if it said that specifically, but I'm going to move. So I'm going to move my playhead to the end. I'm going to hit Command Shift Y and my insertion point. Oh, that's the opposite one. Okay. So I want to move playhead and then I want to move the insertion point to it. So that should be Command Y. That worked. Good. So Command Y is the one I usually want, I think. Save, just in case. How come the show's still really long? This is funny. All right, here we go. I was really excited when the new Apple Gear got announced this year. While I wasn't going to get an iPhone 6S because that was Steve's turn this year, I was still really looking forward to getting a new Apple TV and a new iPad Pro and its new keyboard and especially the Pencil. But the months went by and I didn't have any new toys to play with. I didn't even have my Apple TV yet. Watch OS 2 and iOS 9 and El Capitan were mildly entertaining for, like a day or two, but there was nothing really groundbreaking there either. I was bored. So when Apple announced the new Magic Keyboard, Magic Trackpad 2, I thought, why not? You'll notice I haven't framed a problem to be solved other than boredom. So let's see if we can back into the justification, shall we? Many of us have moved away from wired input devices in favor of wireless keyboards, mice, and trackpads. We're far too ecologically minded to use disposable batteries, of course, so we've become masters at rechargeable batteries. We have a rotation schedule with multiple battery charges. We've got metrics on which batteries are best, and most of us have at least read, if not participated in, lengthy discussions online of our opinions on the subject of which batteries are best. Milliamp hours is a household word for us. Last year, I fell in love with the Mobi line of products that replaced the standard AA batteries in my Apple wireless keyboard and trackpad with what they called the Magic Bar. That allowed me to slide the bar and keyboard into a little charger on my desk whenever the battery got low. Worked great. But over time, I've become less enchanted with the Mobi line of products. They have really good engineering ideas, but they need to stop inventing new stuff and spend some more time on their quality control. The batteries don't last very long at all. I found I was charging every 1 to 2 weeks, and the micro USB cable slot wasn't very secure either, so I sort of had to tape the cable in place, which was kind of dorky. So I had to give up on the Mobi. The next thing I thought about in trying to justify why I needed to spend this money is that over the last few months, I've come to really enjoy the short throw of the keys on the 12-inch MacBook keyboard. It took me a while, but I found myself now sitting in front of the MacBook Pro on my desk with the old Apple wireless keyboard, but I'd be leaning over to the left to type in the MacBook instead. The keys on the desktop keyboard started to feel grotesquely exaggerated to me because they move way too much. If that isn't a third world problem, I don't know what is. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Magic Trackpad, and I never thought I would be. We all used to immediately rush out and buy a mouse to use with our Mac laptops when we sat at our desk because trackpads are annoying. Of course, most of us didn't use the Apple mouses because they've traditionally been pretty awful. I'm not sure how I converted to intentionally using a trackpad instead of a mouse, but I can't stand using a mouse now. Using that scroll and scroll and scroll, it's like I feel like I'm getting carpal tunnel the minute I use them. Steve, on the other hand, is at the other end of the spectrum, but he's wrong and I'm right. Apple's trackpads are way better than any mouse. Justifying a new Magic Trackpad is a little harder than the keyboard, except for that pesky battery issue. I never thought the original model was too small or the color matched my MacBook Pro too well. Armed with this incontestable list of excuses, I bought the Magic Keyboard, I should say. I hate Bluetooth for how dodgy it is, but both of these devices paired instantly when I turned them on. I understand that if you don't even want to bother with the menus for pairing, you can simply plug them into your Mac via the lightning cable. But since I keep Bluetooth in my menu bar, it was easier to just use the pull down menu. By the way, turning them on is now a very distinct little slider switch on the edge of each of the devices. Physical little switch that it's on the side away from you. So there's no more problem with wondering if that round button has been accidentally pressed, or if your backpack got, you threw it in your backpack and they got turned on accidentally when you were toting them around. The first thing that surprised me was how big the Magic Trackpad 2 is. You may have heard that it's about 30% bigger than the old and busted Magic Trackpad 1, but that's actually misleading. The usable area is 30% bigger, but the total area it takes up on your desk is only 8% bigger. On the old one, the top 0.8 inches is part of the battery holder, and that's unusable space. The old one is pretty square. It's like around 5.1 by 4.5 inches, while the new one is kind of a landscape rectangle at 6.3 by 4.5. Like I said, my excuses to spend money section, I'm not sure I needed more space in my trackpad, but it doesn't hurt anything. It's also white instead of silver. No idea why they did that. The only thing I can think of is that Apple is in cahoots with the electronics cleaning products companies. It doesn't match my silver MacBook Pro or my space gray MacBook, but it does go well with the white keys on the keyboard, I suppose. The Magic Trackpad 2 comes with Force Touch, which might be a cool feature. Luckily, I watched Don McAllister's screencasts online, so I learned a few of the things you can do with it in El Capitan. You can get a word definition, which is kind of cool. You can use it for quick look because hitting the space bar with the hand that's already on the keyboard is such a chore. You can use it to rename files by pressing harder because hitting enter with hand still on the keyboard is such a chore. Well, I don't remember if it does anything else. That's all I can remember. What I do like about the new trackpad and the new keyboard on the MacBook is that it's not a mechanical click. Okay, that's going to be my first time having to stop and edit. That was a mistake. I wrote trackpad twice in the show notes, and Stevie P didn't notice them. Autocorrect didn't help me with that. Let's see. Use it for quick look because hitting the space bar with the hand that's already on the keyboard is such a chore. You can use it to rename files by pressing such a chore. Well, I don't remember if it does anything else. That's all I can remember. Okay. Now, I haven't done much editing yet, so expect this to go horribly wrong. Let's see. I think I go like this. Nope. All got selected. Let's see.
Hi,
what
Tesla.
I do like about...
Hi, girl.
Why are you talking to Tesla?
Oh, shoot. I'm alive here.
Yeah, you are.
Because she just walked behind you.
Oh, okay. You saw me playing with her? Okay, I'm listening now. Hitting enter with hand still on the keyboard is such a chore. Well, I don't remember if it does anything else. That's all I can remember. Okay. It's Command Y. No, it's where are you? There you go. Okay. Steve, you weren't supposed to tell anybody about that, but can I tell her what we were going to name him? Kirsten, I've been thinking about you this week as we're looking at the kitties. We're going to name one of them Ada, and the other one, Steve, I've been thinking about it. Maybe it should just be Grace.
Not Hopper?
Ada Lovelace and Grace Hopper. I was thinking, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards Grace.
Not Feynman?
Well, yeah, we wanted to name one Feynman. We were hoping for a boy and a girl, but they had two girls. The boy didn't like us. The girl kitties did, so.
Perfect.
Perfect? Who wrote that?
Kirsten.
I thought you'd appreciate that. You're the one who taught me about Ada Lovelace. Ada Lovelace. Okay. It isn't a typo. It's that I read it wrong. Okay, good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Whoops. Cancel. All right, here we go. Are you muted, Steve? What I do like about the new trackpad and the trackpad on the 12-inch MacBook is that it's not a real mechanical click. It's actually electronic with haptic feedback, but you would swear that it is clicking mechanically. If you don't believe me, go check one of these out and click it while turning off the switch on the back. The clicking will stop. It's totally freaky. It's a fun little party trick. Like I said earlier, the main reason to get the Magic Trackpad 2 is for ease of charging. I haven't had it long enough to test the battery life, but they promise a month before you're going to need to recharge, and that will be lovely. It's also lovely that it charges via the included lightning cable. Again, like the Apple TV, a $17 value right there. If you don't have a trackpad yet and you think you'd like one, I think the Magic Trackpad 2 is lovely, and its large glass screen and easy charging is way worth it. But if you don't have $129 burning a hole in your pocket and you already have a Trackpad 1, I wouldn't really lose sleep that you don't have it. Now for the Magic Keyboard. The Apple wireless keyboard of yore, the non-extended one, also had about 0.8 inches of useless space at the top edge for the battery. And on the new keyboard, they simply chopped that off. Some have complained that it's harder to grab without mashing the keys, but I don't think it's that hard to pick up to me. The keyboard is significantly flatter than the original one, with the back end down about 30%. Time will have to tell on whether this is going to be ergonomically sound. I absolutely love the touch of the keys. They don't click, but they're not mushy. They feel just right to me, and I think my muscle memory between my MacBook and this keyboard are going to be very happy. I'm a touch typist, like I mentioned, and I pretty much have to be if I'm going to write as much as I do. And my typos are at a real minimum with this keyboard. So no autocorrect and a new keyboard. It's going to be perfect, right? Doomed. Anyway, at $89, the keyboard is about mid-range for a good keyboard, but remember, it comes with that $17 value Apple Lightning cable. If you think about what you're spending on chargers and rechargeable batteries, though, I think the Magic Keyboard with its 1-month battery charge will actually start to save money over time and will definitely be more convenient immediately. All right, how do I close out the show now? I got to just jump right into the end. I got no music, no nothing. It's going to be weird.
I would start with, well, that's about going to wind us up for this show.
I guess I gotta have a little bit more of gap there, maybe. All right, let's see if I started in the right place. It looks good. Maybe make sure that insertion point is there. Good, insertion point's in the right place. It's too bad the music doesn't start right then. All right. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Many thanks to our sponsor for helping to pay the bills for the very last time, the makers of Clarify over at clarify-it.com. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. You can argue with me on Twitter over at Podfeet, and go check out that NosillaCast Google Plus community too. We just keep having a ball in there, and that's where I ask a lot of questions when I get stuck, and there's great people in there who help me. Having a lot of fun over there. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Sybil did for the first time this week, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. All right. Now, I'm going to let you guys watch because now I'm back to playing with the tool. You guys like watching? I think it's more fun than just, let's see. So what I'd really like to do, up here at the top, I can see the entire track. So right here, that overview of the whole sound, that's this. Oh, I didn't know I could jump by clicking there. That's kind of cool. So I want to grab this and move it, but the only way I know how to move it is to slide it. So I think I got to go to view. No, I don't want to show envelope. What do I want to do? I want to zoom out, but there's a way to zoom to see the whole thing. Zoom to document. There it is. Command-Shift-L. Let's start to learn the keyboards. Command-Shift-L. Now I'll take this. I will move it all the way to the end. And then I guess I want to zoom in, which I can do plus. Move over there. All right. Now, Steve said to make the end of me talking be halfway through this little thing where it goes up there. By the way, if anybody's for the sighted amongst us looking at this, watch how when I slide, this track is under this track. The track above is me talking. This is the music. Watch as I slide this. You see how the waveform is changing size? They claim there's no auto ducking going on, but it sure looks to us like there is auto ducking.
Yeah, that's really misleading. It implies there is, but we can't hear it, right?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe report that, see what they say about it.
Yeah. Let's hear me at Allison@podfeet.com. You can argue with me on Twitter over at Podfeet, and go check out that NosillaCast Google Plus community too. We just keep having a ball in there, and that's where I ask a lot of questions. When I get stuck, there's great people in there. What's loud?
The background music is loud relative to your voice.
Yeah, I think I dropped it down even lower last week, but I didn't save it. So it's at 15. I'll go down to 20.
Yeah, but you didn't grab the right handle.
What are you talking about? Oh, I didn't. Oh, look at you. You're right. I think what I did last time was I left this at 7 at wherever it was, 15, but I grabbed this end and I moved it down. Well, I can't. Why do I? Stop it. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream.
If you use a mouse instead of a trackpad, you could hit that handle.
Shut up. No, I don't know why there's two of these. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to bring that one down to 20. But I think what I did was I started it at 20, minus 20, and I let it ramp up to minus 15.
Might need more, but let's hear it.
Over at Podfeet, and go check out that NosillaCast Google Plus community too. We just keep having a ball in there, and that's where I ask a lot of questions when I get stuck, and there's great people in there who help me. Having a lot of fun over there. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, like Sybil did for the first time this week, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nozilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. What do you think?
Still a little bit hot, a little bit loud on the music.
The end? At the end or all the way through?
I would you start at minus 20?
Yeah.
I would just leave it at minus 20 all the way through until it ramps up.
It's funny. It didn't seem... Okay, remind me to change the template then. Let's see.
Where are you seeing the level? I don't see it on your display. Is it somewhere else?
What level?
The minus 20. I don't see it numerically. I just see...
Oh, when I'm moving these little things, you don't see the number pop up?
No, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's, I don't want to play the whole thing, but let's listen from here. On Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nozilla castaways. Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed.
Yeah, that works.
Sounds good? All right, let's go check the beginning. How do I get to the front? I don't know how to get to the front. How do you get to the beginning, Dan? What's the keystroke for that?
You just cut in line.
Cut in line. Oh, Kevin was the one who hadn't learned about Clarify.
Yes.
Oh, I wish I'd seen that.
He had to leave, though.
Did he? Oh, that would have been funny to say he was the last one. Okay, so let's see. Command-Shift-L zooms to whole document in theory. Come on. Command-Shift-L. There you go. So now I can just pop to the front. Oh. And put my cursor there, I guess. And then I can go plus, plus, plus. Oh, I want to go there. Okay. So now I need to turn on the intro music. Oh, this is
what?
This is what I don't know is just hit tab. It'll play from the beginning. Oh, okay, good. I don't know how to slide a bunch of stuff on the same track at the same time.
You can't select all and move them with a hand?
That's a good question. Can I select everything on a track, Dan?
You have to put in the chat room you're 40 seconds later in the Hangout. Want me to ask that?
Yeah. I don't think I can. I don't think it's possible to select. Select the entire track, everything on the track. They've kind of gotten blended together because I think I jumped over them, and I definitely can't move the stuff on another track. This is going to be tedious. Because now, unless it's sort of like I need to do the intro, move the intro music, then do the rest of it. But it's going to be a total pain. I don't know how I can do that.
How did you do it last week?
I forget. Okay, tab 2. the beginning. Okay, tab. That's good to know. Night, Haley. In the tracks menu, there's a shift track. Ooh. Okay. Track. Shift track. Okay. Let me make sure that track is held. Shift track. Oh, direction forward. Okay, so maybe I'll just pull that. Oh, but then I'll have to, I don't know how far I need to pull it forward. Okay. Can you see those menus when I bring them up or no?
Nope.
Okay. So you really only see what's here.
Yeah, just the window that where the waveforms are.
All right. Because I could do this. Hit stop. What happens if I do? This might make it harder to see. Now,
yeah, we see your whole screen now. A little smaller.
My cursor's gone. Seriously.
There it is. I see it.
There it is. Okay. So, but if I do a menu like that, now you can see the menu, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's small though, right? All the hunger pains. What? You don't want to watch the sausage being made? Okay, so we need to turn this. We need to hear how bad it is, and then guess how far it is, and then type that number in. Ugh. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at Pod. Is that too hot?
Do it again.
That's
I wasn't listening.
15. Steven!
Sorry.
Why are you here?
I wonder.
Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com.
Yeah, a little bit. A little hot.
So that's
Are
minus
you ramping
15.
it down?
Yeah.
What is it starting at and ending at? Minus 15 to minus
Good
what?
grief. Creating new little balls.
Handles.
Handles, yes. It starts at minus 15, and then it goes to, you can't tell. Well, it's about 15. Maybe it's a little higher than that at the beginning. It's creating new little handles every time I grab it.
And you can't expand the waveform or the timeline?
Yeah. But it's creating them all at the beginning. There it is. See, it's got 3 of them now. They're all over the place. I wanted that one.
It's the one to the right you want, because that controls everything to the right of it.
Well, but I need it to be all the way over here. So I'm going to do that minus 20 also.
All right.
That's where the other one is. Okay, and we're going to do this at 20. But I have no way of knowing where the right spot is. There. Okay. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Macintosh bias. Today is Sunday, November 1st, 2015, and this is show number 547. I nailed it. I don't have to move it. Yay.
Purely by accident.
Yep. But I gotta remember to do that first up front. Okay, that's hilarious. All right. Well, this might be right. I'm so worried about. Let me check this one. There's one little connection point. The other ones, I guess, I dragged right over. Or I when I started the recording. See how there's like a gap between these two, right here, and that thing's going back and forth. I think the other ones I overlaid instead of starting at the end, and so they aren't separate pieces. It became one thing, so I didn't have to join it. I wonder if I can join the pieces as well as of the notifications of when the 2 shows come out. So I hope that makes everybody happy. I spoke a bit on the show about the Creative Kit 2016. Okay. All right. I think it's probably good. How long is this show? It is 30 minutes. That's pretty good. All right. Let's see if it'll let me save a copy as AIFF. It didn't let me yesterday. Did Dorothy leave? Dorothy was in for a little bit, wasn't she?
She's still here.
Right. She is still here.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, Mac Lurker. All right, it worked. Okay, Dorothy, now you got to tell me why your script doesn't work. All right. She has been slaving her little fingers to the bone. In theory, it's probably hard for you guys to read. Let's see. NC Audio 2015. Here it is. Okay. That is It's the one we just did. I should be able to go to services. Oh, that's the wrong file. Nope. There's the audio file, services, and I should be able to go to podcast convert v4. Oh, I don't know if you saw, Dorothy. It didn't work on the test file. It got to here, so it opens Alphonic Leveler, and I went to presets and load preset, NosillaCast MP3 Paul, and I hit process, and basically the script never finishes. It gets to 33%. The file gets created. Yeah, I know. I gave you more information than that, Dorothy. So it gets to 33%. You can see it's still running here. Actually, you probably can't see that. It's probably too small, but I'm clicking on the little gear and it says V4 podcast convert, 33% completed. And so the file gets created, and the file has right now it's showing 569 kilobytes. So we know that's not the right size yet. But it just stops. It creates the MP3, but it never does the ID3 tag launching, is the problem. So I think I can close this. So now we're waiting for that to become a real size. This is still running. Don't know. Oh, it's 6:11. We're late. Okay, it finished. Oh, can't find the stupid logo. Dorothy, it's looking on your... That time it asked for the logo, so it was working. Shoot. I got to edit it again to get the logo in the right place. Okay, I should probably call the show because I think we're good. I think we're done. Dorothy, it looks like that's the problem. I don't know why it didn't work on the test file. That's very strange. But it looks like it's working on here. At least it was trying to find the stupid logo. So I am going to call the show. We are late. In fact, we're probably... You better kill Alpha Geek Radio, Steve. I went long. I didn't notice that. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And thank you, Sybil. It was super nice to meet you. Oh, I'm still showing all this junk. Yeah, very nice to meet you, Sybil. Glad you could come. You are my people. So, all right, let's call it. We're going to stop the broadcast. Goodbye, everybody.